quick idea. What if UFOs are animals? And I guess I'm not really, I don't know, I think, what was the name of that Jordan Peele movie or whatever? This might be the premise. I've never watched it, but I think it might be the premise of that. But I think that I was thinking about, I've been really thinking about what the heck UFOs are, since they're real. And I think that just saying, oh, they're aliens is I don't know. The evidence doesn't seem to suggest that that's I don't know, aliens is the most likely thing. But let's explore the idea that they might be animals. And I'd say the reasoning behind that could be that to understand why animals develop where they do, I think one way to kind of understand the conditions behind the environments of said animals is by understanding the energy that exists within the environmental system that you're studying. And one example, I guess, would be swampland. Swamplands are, from my understanding, the most energy-dense areas on the planet. Just given the fact that, there's microbes everywhere, there's, just soups of, well, I don't know the specifics, but you can kind of see how, the energy density of a swamp is pretty high versus the energy density of a desert is like very low, or the energy density of like an open ocean or of like a tundra or something like that. And the amount of free energy that is available for most animals in an area allows for, different structures to emerge, and more types of, certain types of organisms, I would say, emerge in different ecosystems. So, you could say to me, how would a UFO be an animal, right? If it evolved in the sky, because my I guess premise one is that it's an animal. Premise two is that it probably doesn't interact much with the earth. So my point would be that maybe it's a type of animal that stays up in the sky at certain altitudes and can move around pretty quickly. And I don't know, it seems like there might be a possibility for that. But where would it get the energy? I think that the higher you get up, the more, the less the atmosphere filters in the incoming EM waves from the sun, which I feel like, in theory, it should allow for you to collect a lot more energy than, down on Earth. And plants are one of the most successful builds of animals that exist. Maybe not animals, but living organisms that exist. And they rely on, solar power. So what if you had a animal that evolved in the upper atmosphere off of solar power, and maybe, I don't know, like somehow either gets its nutrients from, like, you know, different types of gases, or because I think that's the same thing too. Like, okay, I think your body is most of it is oxygen. I think 60% of it is oxygen, and then I think that's how trees form, from my understanding, or in most entities. Like, it's a lot of it is, you know, nutrients that you eat, but a lot of it is also, well, within plants, you know, it gets some nutrients from the ground, but where does the mass come from? Because if it got all of its mass from the ground, right, then why don't we see, like, the earth, you know, all the dirt being, like, eaten away by all these forests, and forests, like, shrinking? Like, no, the ground usually stays pretty level, but the trees start growing. And the way that happens, from my understanding, is it turns, you know, oxygen and gases into mass. And maybe that's something that happens within you know, the upper atmosphere with these potential, maybe, animals, if they are such. And, you know, they gain a lot of their mass from oxygen and other things in the atmosphere, and they basically stay up there and they float around and whatever, and they get energy from the sun, which is a lot of energy, and then, you know, they're just up there. And maybe due to the fact that they don't really have a lot of natural predators, if any, what if that allowed a certain type of evolution to occur for them? And what if, you know, they didn't have to really exist within the barbaric, you know, struggle of nature that terrestrial and semi-terrestrial animal species have to endure? You know, 'cause I don't know, if you can just float around and you're not going to get killed, then what if maybe what happens is, you know, your evolution just continues at a constant rate where, you know, you get your species gets mutated, maybe from cosmic rays, and since you're higher up, maybe you're more likely to mutate too. And the animals would, you know, they'd probably mutate more, and the ones with better mutations would, you know, outcompete the other ones. You know, maybe, you know, ones that are faster or this and that, and then maybe these species could develop some, like, really crazy, you know, technologies and methodologies. Because, I mean, if we say, oh no, it's too complicated, like, evolution is probably one of the best problem solving abilities and methods that exist out there, and it can solve problems that people don't even know how to solve, and it just does it. So, and that's how life operates. And I would say the only real constraint of that is energy and competition. You know, why aren't there? Why haven't we developed giant, you know, like giant dune worms that feast off of uranium or something? You know, that would be like a pretty, that would be able to, you know, consume a lot of energy, right? but we don't have that. And I think it's just because, there's too much competition. And, evolution here on Earth, terrestrial evolution, prefers small incremental changes. And maybe where there's like no competition, or it's not really possible to have much competition at all, maybe you could have like large jumps in evolution that come up with amazing technologies that maybe we don't even know yet, right? Because how do we understand how the micro machines of our body work? We don't. So there's a lot more things that, there's a lot of things we already don't understand that evolution has already done. So, I don't know. This could be plausible because, even though it's like a crazy macro scale technology, evolution has a track record for making crazy technologies. So, anyway, I think this is the best argument I could come up with. Tie up, meaning that there's a lot of energy available. Evolution can create technologies that we can't even fathom, and it already has, and we already have seen technologies we can't really fathom that evolution has come up with. Maybe a low competition environment, or one with really no predators or diseases or anything like that. Maybe that could allow for some, unrestrained evolution. And also, where would it get its size? Plants get their size through atmospheric gases. Maybe the same thing could be done for this. Maybe it just needs a very little amount of nutrients. I think might have been like a video where a UFO dips into the ocean and leaves. Maybe that's how they get their nutrients. Maybe they need to soak in the brine for a little bit and then they get back out. Who knows? But I feel like this is a decent take because UFOs are not just something where it seems to me like they've been there for a very long time, and it's not just the fact that there's not something new that changed that put them here. Because the better our radar technology is getting, the more we're kind of seeing them out there, and I think that's what you'd expect if it's been here for a long time. And yeah. Anyway, let me know what you think. Maybe it's plausible, maybe it isn't. Who knows? But we need to have some better ideas about where UFOs, come from, because I don't know, it's one of the last big unknowns out there. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Check me out at goosenav.com. And yeah, check it out. goosenav.com. goosenav.com. I will see you on goosenav.com. I'll be waiting there for you with a bottle of champagne and a top hat. I'm eagerly awaiting your reception. So I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.